This one's pretty interesting, Meat. It's Chase Sherman, the Vanilla Gorilla, taking on where's Waldo Cortes Acosta, aka Salsa Boy, and we did see him just debut most recently. He picked up a win over Jared Vandera. It was a fight that was pretty close. I think the question ultimately became, can you win a fight by just landing leg kicks? Because Jared Vandera was just chopping away, must have landed over 30 or 40 leg strikes, and ultimately almost had Waldo Cortes out of there via those leg strikes, but he managed to survive and land enough punches and ultimately steal the decision away from Vandera and keep his record intact, undefeated 7-0. And he's taking on the Vanilla Gorilla, who was supposed to fight most recently against Josh Parisian. The fight fell through just hours before, essentially, and the last time we saw him successfully make it to the cage, it too was against Jared Vandera, but he managed to finish him in the third round in what was a performance of the night return after four straight losses. I mean, it got pretty rough for the Vanilla Gorilla. We were meatlocking it, obviously, and ultimately he did pick up that nice win against Vandera. So both guys coming in against Vandera, both got recent wins. Chase Sherman's plus 160 and was most recently scheduled to fight. So you know he's fight ready, he's in shape. Waldo's recent appearance was just a couple weeks ago as well, though, so maybe he's still in that peak form. A lot of interesting matchmaking going on at this last second heavyweight throwdown. So who are you taking?
Yeah, this is such a funny matchup because you have, undefeated. Where's Waldo? I don't know. I just was not impressed with his last win. Kind of a bum, and it looked like he just didn't know what to do with those leg kicks. And I think if this, was going a little bit farther, or if there's a little bit better fighter that knew how to throw better leg kicks or sharper ones, Waldo was going to get TKO'd by leg kicks, and maybe Sherman is that guy. Maybe Sherman is going to take that that knowledge that he doesn't like his legs touched, and also he's really not that good. And Sherman here is no better, but he's definitely a grizzled vet compared to Where's Waldo. And I kind of like the odds plus 175. This is fight or flight. He needs to get this done or he's going to be KFC. Salsa Boy can take an L and it's not a big deal. So, and it does seem that there is a trend of everyone's O must go. So I think this is another O to add to the weekend that must go.
Yeah, I buy that for sure, and definitely seems like fight or flight is the way to characterize it. And it's interesting looking at Chase Sherman's history, right? Because this is a guy who had a UFC run, got cut, and then rifled off a bunch of wins that allowed him to essentially rejoin the promotion. Then he got cut again, then he's back. You never know if Chase Sherman's in the UFC, and he has amassed 13 UFC fights with a staggeringly bad 4-9 overall record. So a very interesting tenure for Chase Sherman, but I think you might be onto something with this juicy dog. I mean, plus 160. If the same guy that showed up, if the same Waldo, I should say, shows up against Chase Sherman that showed up against Jared Vandera, I like to believe that maybe Sherman can get that one done because one would think that Cortez Acosta would be so much bigger than Chase Sherman in there, but they're literally the exact same size. They're going to weigh the same height. Their reach is identical. And if both these guys are the same size, Sherman might even have greater stand-up game. I mean, we can't neglect the fact that this dude does punch hard. He's got those YOLO Meat Bomb lunchbox hammers, and I gotta believe that Cortez might eat a couple of those. It's gonna be coupled with the leg kicks, like you said. It's like the leg kicks of Vandera, but mix in a little bit of Sherman's lunchbox hands, and I think that could be a successful recipe for the Vanilla Gorilla. So seems like meat. We're both rolling with the juicy meat value stake in this one. Rolling with the 18% taking Chase Sherman. 82% though is going with Waldo. Majority Brown. Do you think there's a pathway where Waldo gets a KO finish?
I think that's the only way. I think Waldo gets a TKO KO finish if it does happen. But I could see Chase getting a squeaky decision win. I'll be very impressed if he does KO this guy because I don't know. Sherman isn't known to be the best KO, but he did do good his last fight.
He's got a couple finishes. I mean, he did most recently against Vandera, and then again, all those island fights. He was a true island boy, collecting TKO finishes over there. So maybe he rediscovers that sauce and not only takes the O away from Cortez, but is the first one to flatline him for sure. Should be interesting. We're both rolling with the dog in this one. Let us know if we're way off. Are we can't find Waldo and we're getting swindled by the Vanilla Gorilla or what? Let us know.